Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio. The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America. And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
And we're live here on the Sackheads Radio Show. Thank you so much for those who are joining us. Thank you so much for Ken McClinton, the exceptional conservative, who threw it over to us. We really appreciate it. Fantastic show he did tonight, as all of our hosts do here on SHR Media. We appreciate them all. The Evans Miller Report, the exceptional conservative, the Rooster Crows at night, all of them really bringing it. There's a couple great articles on the website this week. If you have a chance, go ahead and check us out at www.shrmedia.com. I am Sackhead Sean, joined as always
at the hip.
At the hip. Almost literally sometimes.
Literally sometimes at the hip and sometimes more to the front. But would be me. I'm second. You have a dirty mind.
I know. And the third symbiotic person in the relationship who's almost, the lampreys that hang on the bottom of sharks?
Yeah.
Our producer, Sackhead Soccer,
like a
ladies
leech.
and gentlemen.
You calling me a shark?
Yes, I'm calling you a shark.
Hey, Sharknado's coming out, right?
Yes, I know Sharknado 2 is coming out. Sharknado Part 2.
Is that a treaty that Obama signed?
Yes, the Sharknado Treaty.
Yeah, I didn't.
To protect all the sharks and tornadoes.
I heard number 3 is coming out afterwards.
We have to work
production.
on it.
You know what else is in production?
Shit, I don't want to hear it.
Your mom. I'm sorry. According to the board, it wasn't time for that yet.
We were a little bit early.
Yeah, we're a little bit early on that, but I apologize.
We do have a great show for you tonight.
Call, Ken's bouncer.
Moot yourself.
Mary's going to have to come straighten things out for you. Oh, so much to talk about tonight. Redskins, Iraq, IRS, immigration, Sacco's mom jokes, Benghazi, and more. Here, so stick around for the next 2 hours. It will be a wonderful show. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well. So today,
yes,
the San Francisco Giants lost.
Yes, so that makes things better for you.
The Oakland, it doesn't matter because they're National League, so it's not real baseball. The Oakland Athletics won.
Hate mail goes to Clint at SHR.
Wait a second, now hang on. Which side are you on, American League or National League?
I know, I just don't.
Exactly. And so that means that the Oakland Athletics have the best record in baseball right now. So
in the Bay Area.
No, period. Actually, if you pull up.
So
congratulations to the Oakland Athletics.
Good job to the Oakland A's. You guys are, once again, a young, scrappy team that always does well.
Yeah, absolutely. So they pretty much nailed it.
Well, that's
How are
good.
the Red Sox doing?
Better, not great, just a little bit better.
Okay,
500 ball
reigning
right
World
now.
Series champions.
Reigning World Series champions. It happens a lot too. When teams win the next year, they slump a little bit. It's very bizarre, but second round of the season's coming up, so hopefully it'll start to pick up again. That's what I'm hoping. All-Star break come up in July, and off we'll go. We're a better second half team. It's like me. I do better in the second half of the show than I do the first. I'm a second half type of guy. It's a Boston thing. We phone everything in for the first hour, and then the second hour, that's really when the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
That's when you really, shine.
Or if you Sandra Fluck, the rubber meets you.
Was that a dirty joke?
That was a dirty joke. Can you imagine that?
Speaking of dirty jokes,
yes.
You know what time of year it is?
What time of the year
It's
is it?
white pants time.
It is white pants time.
I love white pants. Can I just tell you?
I know you're wearing them right now, and linen, by the way, looks fantastic on you.
And it really
you don't get enough credit.
It follows the curve
just
perfectly the way it hangs. And Socko's been checking it out all night.
It is so wrong.
But it is
here,
white
folks.
pants time of year. So I appreciate that. Thank you, ladies, for wearing white pants and driving me crazy.
When we were in chat, I was in the chat room for Ken's show, and I was listening. But Hold Your Awakens, a friend of our show and a friend of the Exceptional Conservative, asked a chat room poll, and I kind of want to continue to see if we. It's a great question though. Which media person will be the first person to literally take down President Obama? Literally, A, no one. B, Chris Matthews. C, Brian Williams. D, Chuck Todd. E, Bill Schieffer. Or F, David Gregory.
Why weren't the sackheads in there?
No, literally. They'll never let us that close.
Oh, to
ever.
literally take him down?
Yes.
None. Well, like to dry hump his leg or what? Because I would say Chris Matthews.
Well, that's exactly what I said.
Right?
I answered Chris Matthews, and I said the only reason he would do it is so he'd have a chance to mount him. So it's kind of funny that great minds think alike. Oh, man. The world is just, I'll tell you, we are in an insane time in this world.
Why?
Well, so...
Without getting into anything that we have on the board. So take a look.
All right, let me look down. No,
look.
I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that. I can't. I'm okay in general jackassery to talk about that, but
right.
No, it's not time for a Socko's mom joke.
It's always time for a Socko's mom joke.
No.
Those were just thrown
She
in
would
there as...
kill us.
Well, yeah. Yeah, hairy Armenians are tough.
They actually are.
No, they are. Speaking of which, one's about to speak. Go ahead, Socko.
Oh, no, I had nothing to say. But now that you have your attention.
Good, Socko. You have something witty and informative.
Yeah, go ahead.
to
Let's
You know what?
look
I'm
good
gonna
right
do
off the
this
top of
in
your head
reverse.
here.
I'm doing this right in reverse. I'm going to just take it as it is.
You always,
You're hurting my
that's not the
feelings,
first time
Clint.
you've done that.
You're hurting
You
my
usually
feelings.
take it as it is.
Hey, you know what? Next week, bringing my mom's awesome barbecue.
Yes,
You're not going to have any.
dude. Ha! Joke's on you.
You're the one that wrote Socko's mom jokes on the board and laughed about it.
I can't believe I have to deal with
Oh my! I so love the fact that right now in the chat room I'm seeing Save Socko, yes, and the children. You actually have defenders.
You know what? We
that
need.
come on, Socko.
Well, hang on a
When
second.
I get railed on, no,
We need a shirt.
When I get railed on here on this show, when I get insulted,
First
by,
of all, you can't say when I get railed on
when I get
and not
insulted
take
by
heat for
Clint,
that.
which happens on a regular basis, nobody comes to my defense. Usually, what happens is I'll try to say something in my defense. Ken will accuse me of being a racist.
You are a racist.
Socko will just sit over there and laugh like he's doing right now. You will mouth things when people can't see it,
No.
just to drive it in. And
All right, guys. So you know what we'll do to fix the mouthing? We're going to put ourselves on a webcam.
No, we can't do that. That's fine, but I'm wearing a I'm wearing a sack over my head,
well, and that keeps us from
having to see me.
having to see you, which is good.
Right.
I like the fact that you cut out the part for your nose. Question in the chat room was, is Socko really Armenian? He is American of Armenian descent, yes. So that's, I'm glad we clarified that. By the way, his mom does make the best barbecue. Socko and I worked together for a long time years ago. And he used to bring it in, and we would rate it, and it's probably some of the best barbecue I've ever had.
And I believe the term for that was "gay for pay," but I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've had to look anything like that up.
So anyhow,
But yeah, you guys worked together for a long time. Matter of fact, some of your stuff is still out there. You can maybe able to find some of
I
it.
thought we were going to take back the hate.
Not yet.
No, it's time.
It's not time. We have
No,
6.
we have 6 minutes. It's
Okay.
Take Back the Hate time.
So we are taking.
Socko,
well,
do we have Take Back the Hate music? All right, you work on that.
Come on, Socko. You were told about this 3 weeks
Let me
ago.
see if this is a good one. Hold on.
All right. It's going to be loud. That's not Take Back the
That's
Hate.
not take back that. That's inflict some hate. Is what that is.
Upon Clint.
That's
All right,
upon
fine.
anybody.
Fine.
I'm going to have to practice my comebacks because...
Guys, I have a motion.
All right, go ahead.
I have an official Sackhead motion.
All right.
I think we should change the name. To, ready?
What?
Instead of the Sackheads radio show, I think we should be the Featherhead radio show.
I'm going to have to go with...
Well, hang on. Let's think about this before we actually have to take a vote.
Oh, no.
This is standing in solidarity with the Redskins.
Okay.
Okay? Because, and I want to take back the hate on the term Redskins.
All right, taking it back on Redskins.
We're taking back the hate on Redskins.
We'll add Redskins to the list of words.
Because Redskins is not hateful, and it is white guilt that has forced that upon people, I believe. So Redskin, the term, first came about like late 17th century and was applied specifically to the Delaware Indians. And it did not refer to the skin color of the Delaware Indian, but it referred to their use of vermilion face paint. So they were called Redskin. It was not a derogatory term. As a matter of fact, they referred to themselves many times as Redskins, and it was Redskin and white skin and or pale face, as they would. Are you offended by pale face?
I am.
There is actually a musician. Well, I don't know if it's truly music, but there's an artist. I don't know if it's much of an artist either, but there is somebody out there with the name Paleface. So I think that their name should be changed, since Redskin has to be changed.
I think that's a great idea.
But since I don't believe either is hateful, then that wouldn't really stand. So I'm officially taking back the hate on Redskins.
I think you've done a wonderful job.
Okay. And in standing with solidarity with the Washington Redskins,
yes,
we should change our head to Featherhead Radio.
Featherhead Radio.
Now, that brings a question.
Let's put that to vote in the chat.
When people were tarred and feathered in the colonies... When people were tarred and feathered in the colonies, did the evil white settlers, pale faces, did they go out and raid Indian colonies for their hats? No, it's a legitimate question. Because where else would you get feathers, right? I mean, so did they go out? Because I've read posts on the internet where evil white men went and slaughtered the Indian. Was it to tar and feather people?
I don't know. Maybe that was it. We had to take their hats. Maybe that's why they would scalp us in return.
Okay.
To get our hats, which, is usually
a
receding hairline.
Right.
That's a really good question. Listen,
in which case we were British subjects at the time, so really let's hate the Brits.
Yeah, it's not our fault. It's the British fault.
Absolutely. Well, it's their fault why slavery was here, right?
Right. It's also their fault why we separated from them.
Right. And it's their fault that they got their butts kicked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Twice.
They just couldn't really turn that ship around, could they? Listen, this whole thing about the red string, Washington Armenians, Ken says. Ken recommends changing their names to the Washington. Oh, hopefully they have barbecue. They don't know anything about. If they're going to start a soccer team, Ken, then they could probably do the Washington Armenians. But
you know what? I think it should be. I think their name should be changed to the Washington Indigenous Native American people victims who were slaughtered by the evil pale-faced white man. Settlers of doom. Could that fit on a jersey?
All joking aside, when the patent office turns around and removes a patent and a trademark, essentially saying, because we deem this hateful,
yeah,
they can no longer control that name. What precedence does that set? Because now all you have to do is say, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. Let's just say Disney for some reason.
Okay.
You look at all the Disney has a movie,
Song of the South,
Peter Pan. What makes the red man red? Right?
You can't say that.
So what if all of a sudden this administration turns around and order that Disney's patents be removed
from Peter Pan?
From Peter Pan
because of the song,
right?
Are you calling for Disney's patent to be removed from that song?
I think at this point, I would like to see the president do that. So at least he's...
Hang on a second. What about if Sackheads lost the trademark?
On Sackheads.
Because they don't like the fact that we stood up for the Redskins because we're standing up for hateful speech.
Right.
And we sometimes have a point of view that they may find offensive. Therefore, they can revoke our trademark, right?
Right. Or what? You know what? As an Irish person of Irish descent, I am offended by the Boston Celtics.
Well, yeah.
I don't like the fact that their mascot is the little leprechaun that makes everyone think that every Irish person in the world knows what the part of gold is and all that. So
Is that Scottish or Irish?
It was Irish, but
I
I'm
can't
sober.
even tell because the Boston accent.
But I think that they should remove the patent and the trademark from the Boston Celtics because I find it offensive.
I don't think I don't think it should be called the Paddy Wagon anymore.
No, well, that's not trademarked. I wish it was because I really would high five whoever decided to do that.
Let's trademark it.
If some city agency, might as well be New York. It's where it started.
Right.
If NYPD trademarked all their
vehicles
and whatever they throw the drunks in the big trucks
the drunk trucks.
Right.
The paddy wagons.
Drunk trucks.
Right.
Man, where were you when they were coming up with paddy wagon? That would have been awesome. But I think they should put that on the side, the paddy wagon. The drunk truck. That is amazing. I'm writing that one down.
You need to write that one down.
Drunk truck it is.
We need a Save Sacco shirt, by the way.
But, yes. Oh, Save Sacco. That would be a great shirt for the store. Save Sacco.
Write it down.
So, but seriously, the overreach from the federal government into this is beyond embarrassing and disgusting.
It's thought police is what it is, right?
It's exactly what it is.
If they don't if this board does not like what your name is from your own personal organization, your own private property, something that you own, they can revoke your patent and fail to give it protections, even though it's your property, intellectual property, or whatever it is you own. And particularly when the trademark at the time was lawfully obtained. So something was lawfully obtained. It was established in like the 30s?
Yes.
Lawfully obtained trademark. They've been using it for 80 years-ish, 80-plus years. And now they're going to strip it because they don't like the name 80-some-odd years later. That's ridiculous to me. And
Golf Dogs in the chat room thinks the Broncos should be have their name stripped as well because they're exploiting the horses.
Of course they are. Should they be the Denver Horsies?
The Denver People? The
Denver Pintos?
Kenneth, the Buccaneers, why are we exploiting Somalians?
Which is also racist.
Extremely racist.
Extremely, because Somalians, I believe, are of a darker hue.
Hey, I could even make the argument that the New Jersey Jets should have to change their name after 9/11 because there could be people in New York who find it offensive that they're maintaining their name.
Absolutely. And what about the Sacramento Kings?
Right.
We don't have monarchies here.
No, absolutely
What makes
not.
them think they're better
We're
than
a
everybody
constitutional
else?
republic. How about
Right,
the
and why is their
Sacramento
color
presidents?
purple?
I'll never know that.
Right? Is it purple? Is that racist color? Because they
Maybe
believe...
the movie The Color Purple?
Well, I don't know, but is it that the team believes that since most African Americans play basketball and they like the color purple, that's what their uniform should be?
I don't know.
Is it stereotypical that they have purple uniforms?
I don't know. I believe it would be.
I think it's
offensive.
Absolutely,
Do you think
it's offensive. I do.
Now, I want to know where our friends at PETA are with the San Jose Sharks. Why haven't they come out and demanded that San Jose change their name to something less? Because you look at the hockey team, and it's a rough, violent sport where people get knocked down, and it's a very physical thing. That puts a bad light upon sharks themselves, which are not mindless man-eaters. So
right.
I would like to see PETA come out and call for the change of the San Jose Sharks. LA Kings, same thing.
Now I'm going to touch a touchy subject here for a moment. First of all, I'll start with mine, the Oakland Athletics.
Yes.
Look, not everybody is athletic.
At all. You're setting the bar way too high.
You're setting the bar way too high. So why is it that you're athletic? What if people aren't athletic?
No, I think that's horrible.
Not everybody's an athletic supporter, but I am. So if you're not athletic, then you may be feeling like you've been left out. What about the Boston Red Sox?
What about it?
Well, listen. First of all, is it a term because the red man wore socks, or maybe the red man tried socks, or
maybe it's a tribute. Maybe it's a tribute to the Redcoats, and now I find it offensive in that regard
because they're wearing.
And I'm a Sox fan.
And why does it have to be red socks? What about the White Sox?
Cleveland Indians, same argument as the Chiefs. Jason in the chat room asked about that.
Look, that's
Holger's
actually
in the
been-
chat room tonight on shrmedia.com. Freedom from religion. Why can we not complain about the California Angels?
Because they already changed their name. They're not, the Anaheim. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim is what they are now. And you know what? That is an excellent point because not everybody believes in angels. We're not all religious, right? Why can't they be the Purgatorians? Or the spirits.
The Atlanta Cowards. Also, for alcoholics, the Milwaukee Brewers may be offensive, according to Holger, so that's something that to look at as well, too. The Chicago Bulls, I don't even know where to start with that. Chicago White Sox, come on, really? Even your socks are white? You bunch of racists. Let's get rid of it, all right? The Cubbies, you know what? History's done enough to them. Let's leave them alone. They can keep their name.
Well, no.
The Seattle Mariners. Hey, listen, I don't own a boat. Do you own a boat?
I don't own a boat.
Sacco, do you have a boat?
Do you want a boat?
Yeah, see,
do you know how to sail
that's an
it?
entitlement thing, just to assume everyone's a mariner because you're a rich person from Seattle. It doesn't work that way.
What if they were the Seattle Sailors?
The Seattle longshoremen?
Longshore people?
Longshore people.
I like
Washington Wizards. Now we're starting to get cross.
Well, they used to be the Bullets.
They
used
Ken,
to, right?
Ken, I know you're in the chat room. The Washington Bullets. Is that not offensive considering all the gun violence?
They used to be Bullets.
Absolutely.
And they changed their names to the Wizards.
Yeah. It used to be the Seattle Supersonics. Nobody's that fast.
Who is that fast? Seriously.
Right.
I mean,
the Cleveland
Chuck
Browns
Yeager.
Golf Dog brings up. That is, if I was a Mexican person, I would be so offended to have a football team named after me.
Oh, see, I was going the other way. I was thinking more of the more darker color. I was thinking more black or African.
Very
Right,
much
the
so.
Browns.
Very much so. How about, let's see, let's go with the New Orleans Saints.
Again,
religious,
same
gotta
thing,
separate
religious
it.
connotation.
Yeah, and how about those New York Yankees?
And why the fleur-de-lis or whatever the hell that thing's called?
I don't know. They have a huge French influence down there. I don't know.
Yeah, didn't we kick their ass in a war or something like
Yeah,
that? Or
I
saved
know,
them or
but
did something, right?
They have to do something. It's the only way that they allow Mardi Gras to run, I think, so they'll never go away. New York Yankees.
What's Mardi Gras?
Mardi Gras. As a northerner on the East Coast, somebody north of the, what's it called? The Manson-Nixon line?
It is not
I find that
Mason
very
Dixon
offensive.
line. Yeah.
I find that very offensive.
Did you say Mason-Nixon line?
Yeah, Manson-Nixon line.
Okay, so why can't you have the, let's say that instead of the Texas Rangers, let's say what if you were the Texas Confederates?
Ooh. Well,
and you had the stars and bars on your shirts.
Right, but I think the Rangers were named after the actual Texas Rangers themselves, the law enforcement. Now, what if you are not a Texas Ranger, but you're just a county sheriff? Isn't that offensive to you? Shouldn't it just be called the Texas Law Enforcement Officers?
Right, or the Texas Cops.
Right. Kansas City
Texas
Royals. Kansas City Royals, we go back to the
same
argument.
Same argument with the Kings. Astros.
The Astros. First of all, I am a fan of the Jetsons, aren't you?
I am. And the dog. Why is it so hateful to the dog?
So all these questions come up, and I think we've made a fairly successful argument on who could be offended by all of this.
I have one more.
What?
The Patriots.
Why would you not want to be a Patriot? I'm just saying.
I
am
a Patriot, but listen.
Right.
Apparently, only
feeling,
conservatives can root for that team, right?
And I'm okay with that.
But
I'm okay with that.
Well, hang on a second. But look at the segment of the population that was Patriot not a term the IRS was targeting?
Yes.
So
I wonder if they were targeted. I'll have to call Bob Kraft. He's a friend of mine.
That year, how did the Patriots fare? Was there a reason maybe they didn't get as far as they did?
I have to do an investigation. I wonder if the government stopped that. Let's see. Dallas Cowboys. It could be
they killed a lot of
child predators.
So when the Cowboys play the Redskins,
the Gamecocks.
Why don't they call it?
Golf.
Why don't they call it the Cowboy and Indian Gang?
The Cowboy and Indian game. The fight for the Old West.
Right.
Let's see. L.A. Dodgers. You can actually make the argument that that's pretty true. They're dodging immigration at the border. They're dodging a lot of things. So I'm not saying that's a totally wrong one. The Dodgers, as much
draft
as
Dodgers,
the
maybe,
draft
I don't
Dodgers,
know.
yeah, we could go into that.
Duck Dodgers.
Protestants are offended by the Arizona Cardinals. So I think the argument can be made for any team, for any name. All joking aside, as much fun as this is. Oh, there's one more. The Association of Little People is united to complain about the New York Giants.
Oh, the Padres.
Catholic and offensive, yep.
Yep.
As an Irish Catholic, I'm sorry.
Well, not only that, and Hispanic, right?
And
because
Hispanic.
that's a Mexican term. Well, first of all, why is there a Hispanic term,
Right.
a Spanish term being used to name a American sports team?
Yeah, no.
So there's the first thing, but I can't say that because I'm racist, right?
Right, that would be absolutely racist.
Got it. Okay, so forget I said anything.
The Florida Marlins, I don't have a big nose. For you, that might be offensive.
That's
I could
offensive
see-
to me,
Yeah,
because
could
I have
see why
a
that-
big, and I have a fin on my back,
Right.
And
And a tail.
and I can fly,
And it's kind of weird. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays, how dare they allow the word devil?
Yeah, but that's you can be a devil.
Oh, that's fine. You
in
can
this,
devil
yeah.
worship all you want. That's true. I didn't even think about that. Let's see. Conservative Outcry joins us in the chat room after a long time. The Bruins, if with Peter again, we could start having the argument with with all the animals, the Bruins being one of them. You're putting them in a bad light.
What if you had the
The
uniforms?
LA Clippers, I guess if you're in the union of barbers, that's okay.
Hang on. What about let's talk college. What about the USC Trojans?
Oh.
What if you don't believe in birth control?
Right.
Is that now a?
Can we call them the USC Flicks? I think that would be awesome.
The USC Flicks? What about
Flux.
the what about the USC Pullouts?
The USC Rhythm Method. That's a brilliant idea.
Thank you. I just thought of that. The Hawaii Warriors. Why is that so mean and menacing?
I know.
Or the Rainbow Warriors.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a happier sounding.
It is.
I was corrected that the name for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, our news director Jason Miller, was changed officially to the Rays, and I think it was last year. So I do stand corrected.
That's even worse.
99% of the Occupy movement is offended by the Milwaukee Bucks. How dare they flash money in their face? That's a good one, Holger. Thank you. So I think we've articulated very clearly.
I'm going to say that Rays is worse than Devil Rays.
Right, death
Because
rays.
devil is actually inclusive of the satanic group, which the left may like, right? They're more inclusive.
Right.
That way, whereas Rays, so why are you taking that away from them? Why are you taking that away from the atheists or the Satanists and excluding them purposefully and taking their person out, just putting in rays? And what kind of ray are we talking about? Are we talking about a death
Sun ray, death ray.
A C ray? Are we talking about a ray of sunshine? Or are we talking about some guy named Ray? Right? Like, is this disparaging to Ray Charles? Do guys wear sunglasses?
Is it
on that
because they're
team?
poor hitters?
Is it because they're poor hitters and they
Right.
wear sunglasses like Ray Charles did?
Two more, and then I want to wrap this up. The Blackhawks, we did have the argument about Native American. However, in Chicago, if Chicago is a racist term, Blackhawk could be a racist term against African Americans and black people. So that, there's so many ways to go on that. What if you're a bird conservationist? Blackhawks, you have the word hawks, and it doesn't look good. Last two. And I think we've covered every Major League sports except for Major League Soccer, but nobody cares.
Nobody cares. The Hurricanes. Is that a team?
Oklahoma Sooners, people who are tardy are offended by that. I could see that. And golf. I think their arch rival should be the Laters. And golf finally is, who thinks the Ducks are mighty? But seriously, folks,
Emilio Estevez.
This is another time of the government stepping in and, again, causing you to it's the thought police, like Clint said. And this is so over the top, it's not even funny. It's a private industry once again being destroyed by government over emotions and not facts. Because of one group complaining, and I think it's just one group, whereas they've polled a lot of other Native American tribes and leaders in the area who have zero issue with it. They appreciate the heritage that it brings. Call your congressman. Get really pissed off about this because it needs to happen. Government is going way too far. We are getting the high sign for the break and from Sacco, so we're going to have to roll into a break. When we come back,
we're going to get into some real business.
We're going to get some real business.
As
much fun as this was, and this is why
fun.
I love our listeners, is because we can have this fun.
And thank you all for your input, too. We love the participation. When we come back, we're going to get into Iraq.
Iraq, yes. Iraq and Iran and all of the fun stuff that's going on there. So we'll be back here.
If you care about what's going on in the world, you
on the Sackheads Radio Show. Good job, Sacco, nailing that producing thing.
Hi, this is Andrea Kay, your host of the Andrea Kay Show. It's not always about the money. Okay, it is always about the money, but it's also about politics, pop culture, and you. The only thing street about this show is the smarts. There's a reason they call me Dynamite in a Dress, and you'll find out why when you listen Tuesday mornings at 10 on Financial News and Talk.
Hello, I'm Paul, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is my professor, Dr. Larry Arnn, on the separation of church and state.
America's founders believed in the separation of church and state, in that the country was not to have an official religion or an official sect. But that did not mean that government was to be hostile to religion, or even indifferent to religion, as many today argue. In fact, America's founding document, the Declaration of Independence, includes both a reference to God as the author of the laws of nature and a confident assertion that human beings are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Far from being hostile or indifferent to religion, America's founders understood the theology of the Declaration to be an essential part of the education of citizens.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.org.
How you doing? John Grant here. When I'm not slaving over a hot microphone on the 405radio.com Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, I check out Sean and Clint here at Sackheads Radio. We all appreciate the best political bloggers, writers, and commentators. We either get them on our shows or we make fun of them, as it should be. So check us out live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern or forever on the podcasts on the 405radio.com.
Hey folks, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. As a native Bostonian, my heart broke on April 15, 2013, watching those horrendous attacks at the Boston Marathon. Now there's a way that you can help. Go to onefundboston.org, onefundboston.org, where you can donate to help the victims and families from this awful attack. Onefundboston.org, all the proceeds will go directly to the victim's family. Thank you very much from Sackheads Radio.
Now back to Clint and Sean on Sackheads Radio, radiating elegancy and...
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back here on the Sackheads Radio Show. Thank you for joining us. Check us out, shrmedia.com. If you listen on 365, jump in the chat room there and enjoy the wonder that it is. Lots of people chatting in there. Go.
Do you think that guy out there knows that that's actually an alpaca and
No.
not a llama?
Nope.
He's got no idea, does he?
Nope. Absolutely not.
And yet he's treating it like it's a llama.
Well, the funniest part is I shaved it down so it looks like a lion.
Kind of,
It has
a little
mane,
bit.
right? Now it's just all screwed up. Hey, so you remember that little place called Iraq where 4,500 plus Americans gave their lives?
Yeah, listen, our job's done there. Time to bring everybody home. Everything's going to be fine. Stabilize the region. We're totally good. We got a drawdown plan and just kind of going for it. What's the problem?
Yeah, we lost it.
We lost? No, I don't think we lost the war.
No, it is. See, there's this group called ISIS. They're an Al-Qaeda knockoff, and
no, they're too extreme for Al-Qaeda.
They're too extreme for Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda, so you guys are crazy.
Yeah,
you
remember
need to go form your own
9/11?
group.
You remember 9/11? That was done by Al-Qaeda. These people are worse than that, allegedly. I also have suspected that Iran, Syria, maybe dumping some money into them as well, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But this group, ISIS, that spawned out of Syria, has once again, or has invaded Iraq, slaughtered Iraqis by the thousands, Iraqi soldiers, Iraqi citizens, and it's still going. And it's now to the point that they're driving around in American equipment that we left for the Iraqi military and attacking people with our own equipment.
Well, it's Iraq's equipment because we turned it over to Iraq for their use.
Right.
And they captured that equipment or took it or it was given to them. Either way. And so, yeah, they're with that. I believe they have armored vehicles. They have Humvees, right? And there were some reports that they have Stinger missiles, which that system is capable of taking down aircraft, obviously. And the concern with that system is capable of actually maneuvering through chaff and flares, which are countermeasures that combat aircraft take in order to throw off the signature readings for
heat-seeking missiles.
Surface-to-air missiles or air-to-air missiles, whatever it is. And those missiles are capable of defeating that. Very easy to learn how to use, very easy to point and shoot, and an unknown number potentially have fallen into those hands. Now, I've seen reports come out from Pentagon or State Department said, hey, that we don't have any confirmation that those weapons have fallen into their hands. However, was there not an attack helicopter that was shot down?
Yes, there was.
Earlier this week. So, do I believe they probably have them? Yeah, it makes sense that they would have them. Makes sense that we would give those weapons to the Iraq. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I don't think we should be doing that, but they did, and now they're in the hands of the extremists. Which, by the way, they're some places aren't calling them terrorists; they're calling them like militia.
Well, and it's funny. There are some that are calling them terrorists, and one of the things when I first heard about this, and they were so quick to call them terrorists, and I tweeted this out. Why is it that ISIS is terrorists, but the Russian separatists, and now there's some Iraqis that are actually in ISIS, but the Russian separatists are not called terrorists? It's mainstream media working, which, by the way, lamestream media, because Ken brought up a really good point on his show tonight, that we should no longer refer to quote-unquote mainstream media as mainstream media, and that groups like us are now mainstream media because you're getting the legitimate stories out of it versus the spin and the liberal jibber-jabber. So I just want to point that out, and I think Ken had a great idea, and we should run with that as well. Sorry, go on.
I'm so confused right now.
No, I had to jump on that because it made me think that, and Ken just
basically we're awesome.
We're awesome. That's what it all rolls on.
Okay, that's all you had to say is we're awesome. You don't have to go on this long explanation and confuse me. I'm Portuguese, okay? I have a very limited focus point here, and now you threw me off my entire game. Let's make a Sacco's mom joke.
Let's say. No, because she's bringing us barbecue next week.
That's a good point. We love Sacco's mom.
We love Sacco's
Let's make a
mom.
Sacco joke. So, as I understand it, it comes down to Sunni versus Shiite, right?
Right.
This has been going on for thousands of years.
And what a pile of Shiite it's been.
What do we think we are going to do?
Nothing.
Yeah. So what are we doing?
Well,
and what are we going to... Okay, so are we seriously going to talk with Iran now and perhaps get involved with them because the enemy of my enemy is my friend? No, it's not.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've heard.
So we're going to be fighting against Iran interest in Syria, but now in Iraq we're going to be okay with them? How's that going to work?
It's absolutely insane. And I'll
what's
tell
insane? This administration is insane.
Absolutely off the mark. I can't even believe how out of control they are. But
how is he not
have some
impeached,
suspicion
anyway?
That Syria and Iran are throwing money into these groups because they want to be able to come in and quote unquote be the hero. And if they can actually set it up so they can come in and keep peace, they now have feet inside Iraq, Iraqi oil. And that's something that Iran's wanted a piece of for years, and they would control that entire region even more.
About 2 hours ago, a news report came out on Fox's website saying that, and I hadn't seen this earlier in the day until we were doing some last minute prep, and it says that an official at Iraq's largest domestic oil refinery says Sunni militants have taken over 75% of the facility.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's that's a problem. I mean, obviously,
that's a serious problem.
No, it's not a serious problem. This is in Iraq. This.
Sorry, go on. Jackass.
So what interests do we have over there? We have energy interests, correct?
A lot of energy interest, yes.
We have an interest in controlling terrorism, right, or putting down terrorism.
Yes.
In order to protect U.S. interests.
Yes.
Other than that?
Not much. Not much.
So it comes down to energy independence,
right?
I think, right? I agree. We have the information here, or not the information. We have the resources here to be energy independent. We have natural gas reserves. We have oil here. We could be energy independent, and I believe we could put infrastructure in place to be able to start tapping that in 18 months?
Yes.
Ish. So why? And yet, on a side note, doesn't he want to act unilaterally in establishing some maritime,
he always wants to act
no drilling. We love the fish zone or whatever off the Pacific coast, which we already have 20 some odd wells or go plats sitting idle. Anyways, so what are our interests there? Why? Look, if we went in there, we had a war. We had it somewhat stabilized, and we had troops there in order to maintain that those gains that were already taken. Correct?
Yes.
So we then pull out. What did we expect is going to happen? And this
and we pulled out early, and we pulled out for political reasons.
Which,
at the end of the day,
I hate pulling out early.
Right.
And we're talking about Iraq right now, so don't give me that look, because I know you had dirty thoughts in your head.
I only have one.
I'm going to counsel you right now. So when we pull out early, obviously we increase the likelihood the region is going to destabilize, and that's exactly what happened. And it goes to the point that we've made on this show several times. Obama's foreign policy, he had no foreign policy plan.
At all. He had no foreign policy experience.
He had a huge domestic agenda that he wanted to push. He knows exactly what he wants to do on the domestic front, and he's not slow to act on the domestic front on things that he has in his personal agenda that he wants to push.
Right.
However, when it comes to foreign policy, he is a blubbering
moron,
blabbering
idiot,
drooling, stumbling
lunatic,
buffoon. I was going to say buffoon.
Okay.
Just because I like the term buffoon.
Well, if you like it, don't waste it on this president.
Well, no, because it suits him.
Oh, okay, good.
In this case. So, look, I don't think we should have an alliance with Iran or even an understanding in Iran. What's that going to look like? Iran, we want to partner with you. Okay, let us have nukes. Okay.
Right. That's the only chip they have to bargain with. That's the only thing that they want.
And that's the only other thing in the Middle East that I would say is our interest is ensuring Israel's security.
Well, and that's something, too, that I really wonder how soon before Israel gets ready to kind of jump in and help them to get that foothold closer to Iran. That would not be a shock. And to start helping out as much as they could. So that'll be definitely interesting to see how that's going to roll out. But I think it's one of those things, too. We made a mistake of getting out too early. We did. This president did it for political reasons. It was before an election. And
he's continued on with it because he has no idea what he's doing foreign policy-wise.
Right.
So what do we do now? What's the fix?
What is the fix? Well, I think the fix is that I have no problem advising the Iraqi military on how they need. I have no problem with that. I have no problem.
What about spec op guys, special warfare guys?
They're probably already there.
Probably, and Obama just approved 100 or so,
275
going over there. Okay, so you got some spec war guys going over there. Hey, look, I can appreciate that.
I can also understand if they're there to defend our embassy and our people that are there. Absolutely, get them out and go. If he's really remember a couple weeks ago, here he is at West Point talking about how we're pretty much going to come home and we're not going to let other countries handle their problems and not be the police and blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how that looks now to him.
I don't think he cares, because he's already saying he doesn't want the military option. He's sending a couple hundred special forces folks in there.
Mm-hmm.
He, maybe aircraft. We got F-18s flying recon missions over there.
Yes.
Now, so they're flying over to get eyes on. Or, really, F-18s aren't typically used for reconnaissance. So maybe it's a show of force. I don't know, but I would assume so. But we're not going to put troops on the ground to retake.
Oh, we're not going to retake
that
Baghdad
region.
No.
And even
if Iraq falls, it's gone.
And even if we did, other than oil, what at this point?
The only thing that I can pseudo rationalize in my head is we went in and we made a commitment. We jumped out early, and it all fell apart. And
it's
now
going to fall apart.
It may be right.
It's going to fall apart anyway.
Anyhow. But I think one could argue that there's almost a moral obligation to help them out a little bit.
I see that argument. I do.
I'm not saying that's the right answer. I'm just saying that's an argument I can see,
and
a conversation to have.
I can see that argument. Here's my problem. They've been fighting for thousands of years.
Right.
So are we going to stay in there forever?
No.
Because as soon as we leave again, we could be in there for 20 years.
Right.
And we think we have the region stabilized, right?
Right.
But as soon as we're gone, let's say we're in there for 10, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we're gone, the Sunnis and Shiites are going to fight again.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to. And we're going to be in the same exact position we were in now. Correct?
Yes. No, it'll be worse.
Maybe. This is pretty bad right now, right?
No, this is a horrible situation right now. And we've allowed it to happen to a point, but we also have to either decide to cut losses and run,
right,
or do something.
See, I actually think we have a choice here. I think given Iran, because Iran is really kind of the wild card in this. I don't know that they're much of a wild card. We really know where they stand, but Iran is kind of what throws the monkey wrench in this for me. So I think we have to look at, okay, how do the Sunnis and Shiites fighting really affect us, independent of Iran's involvement in trying to stabilize Iraq, right?
Right.
Yet, what is affected by Iran and their nuclear program? Israel is.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if we have Sunnis and Shiites that are fighting and they're killing each other over there, and it's horrible, they're killing innocent people and so forth, and that is horrible. But Iran is the bigger problem, and if we get involved with Iran in any kind of cooperative force, how is it we are possibly going to maintain any kind of alliance with Israel and
sleeping with the enemy
and maintain a firm posture with Israel on Iran and their nuclear program?
Right.
I don't think we're able to do it. I think we lose credibility both with Israel,
right,
and I think we lose credibility. We lose credibility with Israel when we say, "Oh yeah, we're here for you." Yet we're cooperating and working with and fighting right alongside Iran here, but we're still against them over here. And then we lose credibility with Iran when we say, well, yeah, we're fighting right next to you side by side in Iraq. However, you still really need to watch those nukes because we're angry and we don't want to have to.
Well, and you just look at how we've treated
action.
our friends in Israel before any of this.
Well, it's been horrible with this administration.
So you throw
for
this
me,
on top.
Well, for me, what I would do, why not address Iran?
Right.
Why don't we address Iran and prevent them from actually getting a nuclear weapon or weapons-grade material?
And then maybe if this had happened...
And then maybe when Iran's dealt with, then maybe we can deal with that. We see what's left between the Sunni and Shiite.
And if we'd done this 4 years ago, and this was already done in past, then yeah, maybe it would be time to talk to Iran about maybe helping us out. But they've shown zero interest in it. And that's something that, he just ignores them over and over again.
Mm-hmm. You know who I wish we could talk to on this because he usually has a very good insight is Ken.
Really?
Yeah. Look, Ken has tremendous insight in this sort of thing, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because
he's just smart.
He's very smart. I mean, I wish he would call in.
I really wish too. You know,
hey Sacco, if Ken calls in, will you put him through?
Right through,
please?
Sacco.
Just right through, right away.
No matter what happens.
And Sacco, you know that's a standing order, so you know that if you ever make Ken wait, it's because you're a racist. But always put Ken right in as soon as he calls.
Right back. I mean, seriously. Maybe even if we call him, do we have his number somewhere? That we could perhaps call him, because that would be awesome if we could do that. Is that even possible?
Yes, give me a second.
Okay, if we could call Ken McClinton, the exceptional conservative, right now, Sacco, and maybe if we could, talk to him on the phone, Sacco. Wait, are you telling me that Ken was on the line and you lost him?
Did you hang up with him on
Why
purpose?
are you waving
Wait,
right now?
Is that when you gave us a thumbs up and you mouthed "Watch this"? Is that what you were talking about?
I'm just saying, if I was Ken, I'd be upset too.
Wait, are you telling me that Ken was on the line and you lost him?
Ken?
Did you hang up with him? Wait,
Ken, you're breaking the number one rule of radio. You didn't turn your radio down before you called in. Sacco, what are you doing to Ken?
Well, take him off of mute. Quit high-fiving yourself in the air.
He can't. Why are you drawing a picture of a bus and pointing an arrow at the back and writing Ken's name next to it?
Listen, I got him connected. It's he has to like the
We're going to try to get Ken back on the line. Oh, man. How about this, Sacco? Is there any way that maybe, I don't know, another good friend of our show that we haven't talked to in a long time? I'm just saying, can we not screw this one up?
All right, I'll bring Rooster on. Hold on.
Okay, good.
Rooster,
are
you there?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Sacco. Go back into your corner. Rooster!
Gentlemen.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing quite well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Am I the only one who thinks it's awesome that the USS George H.W. Bush is launching sorties here with the F-18s over our? Am I the only one that finds the irony in that and thinks it's awesome?
Well, once you get past the fact that President Obama said, how did he put it? Make nice or fix your own problems.
Make nice.
Fix your own problems, or better stated, fix the problem that I created when I didn't get a status of forces agreement.
Well, the one thing that this president loves to do is lip service. And it's funny how he'll tell the rest of the world to be nice because that's all he does to people that could potentially harm us, because he doesn't know how to deal with them appropriately. And then when you get into this situation, this is what happens. And listen, ISIS, and I've said before, I believe that there's money from Iran and Syria going into ISIS, maybe even Russia to a point. ISIS knows that he's not going to do anything, and that's why they took this opportunity. He let us draw down and run. Bruce, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out because I can't hear you in my headphones.
Why not?
I thought Sacco hung up on you too.
No, he didn't hang up on me. Hey, I don't even know what to do.
Good evening. Hello? Hello?
Oh, good. Let's throw Ken into the mix. Oh, no.
Hey,
We're
Ken.
back together.
Ken, I
Did I do that?
No, President Obama. President Obama, yes, you did cause this to happen in some way, shape, or form.
Oh.
So what was
I'm
the word
so sorry.
What was the word that Ken used?
Michelle normally handles this. Can someone point me to the bathroom? Oh.
Is this supposed to be Urkel?
It's President Urkel.
President Urkel, okay.
President, I don't know what it is in this juncture. Kind of like the foreign policy. Yes. Hey.
What is the word?
Sean.
Mohammedan?
Yes, sir.
Mohammedan.
Mohammedan. That's my word for it. That's Mohammedan. It's actually Mohammedan. But I'm calling it Mohammedan.
Take away some of the letters and you get Medea. So I want to know what Tyler Perry's up to.
Can you imagine Medea getting off that plane, dropping in by parachute to Baghdad? Oh no, you didn't. Don't come. Oh my goodness. That's what we need, a big 6'5" black woman parachuting into Baghdad. I tell you, our problems will be solved overnight.
Hey, Ken, you brought up something in the chat room that I think is this is what will aggravate, and this tells you kind of what happens in our nation, and what the drive-bys, if you will, as some people call them, do is this is going to kill our gas prices again. They're going to jump through the roof, like you said, 20 to 40 cents. And then people are going to get mad enough to start demanding action. And as you alluded to on your show, this president's doing everything he can to try to get away from his scandals and get into some sort of conflict. And we've done a really good job of keeping him from doing that and taking him to task. But do you think the gas will be enough?
No.
Well, I mean, Sean, if I could interject, Sean, that's after the entire nation has grown accustomed now, and it's become the norm that $3.70+ a gallon is now the norm.
Right, and that's a serious problem.
Wait a minute, hold up. Was that a teen question? Was that a question for everyone? Because I didn't get a vote here.
That's impossible. We passed that in our bylaws that you could now vote.
I mean, we went through a civil war, didn't we? I thought we all had a vote here.
But was that in the contract? I never got past that morals clause you put in there in mine.
That was you specific. Ken. Ken, do you feel that maybe he'll get enough people on the left behind him for support to start taking action in Iraq, and then he will actually have that one? You don't think even on the left they'll support him?
No, and let me tell you, this is the reason. The left now find themselves in a quandary since they can now be outed as the hypocrites for who they were and who they are. They were the ones who fought bitterly against us going to Iraq in the first place, fought bitterly against us going to Afghanistan. Then you had the liberals like Shepard Smith, who came on and said, we were the bad guys for trying to liberate people who were not necessarily living in New York like Shepard Smith and didn't have the freedom like Shepard Smith had. Those guys came in and tried to recolor history, with their cable television news programs like Shepard Smith. And quite frankly, I really think Shepard Smith is probably the devil incarnate. And quite frankly, have put us in a situation now where we're darned if we do, and we're certainly darned if we don't, but we're much better off if we simply just don't do.
And that would be Shepard Smith, right?
Ken?
Shepard Smith. I was surprised that Lindsey Graham actually came out and said something which I think anyways. But he came out and said, why did we deal with Stalin? Because he was not as bad as Hitler. The Iranians can provide some assets to make sure Baghdad doesn't fall.
Well, that is Lindsey.
So old Lindsey came out with almost like a soft endorsement for Obama opening talks or potentially colluding with Iran, which was very surprising to me.
Clint, I'm sorry. I just think that's the first time anyone's ever used the term soft and Lindsey in the same sentence and didn't refer to his head. So I'm sorry.
No, I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a girl in high school called Soft Lindsay, and I kind of had a throwback, so I apologize for that.
Didn't we send Uncle Joe over there to offer?
Yes, it should have straightened everything out, right?
To offer services to ensure Baghdad wouldn't fall?
Well, the problem is we don't know what Uncle Joe actually said when he got there. We think we know, but he honestly could have played beer pong for 4 days straight and then just left. So that's still up in
nice rack.
It's still
nice rack.
Yeah, it's a nice rack. Too bad you had all that clothing over it. All right, go get me a beer. Smacks her in the ass and sends her out of the palace.
Hey, what's this country? Iraq? How about your rack?
Yeah.
Hey, come here, Toots.
Yeah, this is all awesome.
These broads are great.
Is there a 7-Eleven around here? I never see you people running around without a 7-Eleven nearby. Hey, guys, we're up against a break. Can you hold on for 3 and we'll pick it up on the other side?
I can.
Okay. We're talking with Rooster from the Rooster Crows at Night here on SHR Media and one of our bloggers, and the Exceptional Conservative, Ken McClinton from the ExceptionalConservative.show.com. We're going to be back in 3 here on the Sackheads Radio Show.
Sackheads Radio.
Radio.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
How you doing? John Grant here. When I'm not slaving over a hot microphone on the 405radio.com Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, I check out Sean and Clint here at Sackheads Radio. We all appreciate the best political bloggers, writers, and commentators. We either get them on our shows or we make fun of them, as it should be. So check us out live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern or forever on the podcasts on the 405radio.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on the Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Hello, I'm Paul, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is my professor, Dr. Larry Arnn, on the separation of church and state.
America's founders believed in the separation of church and state, in that the country was not to have an official religion or an official sect. But that did not mean that government was to be hostile to religion, or even indifferent to religion, as many today argue. In fact, America's founding document, the Declaration of Independence, includes both a reference to God as the author of the laws of nature and a confident assertion that human beings are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Far from being hostile or indifferent to religion, America's founders understood the theology of the Declaration to be an essential part of the education of citizens.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.org.
Hi, this is Rooster from Outcry Radio. Catch me here on Blog Talk Radio every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or follow my blog. Now, back to the Sackheads.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Radio.
Dude, so Joe Biden walks in and he buys this condom and he says, "Hey, you want a bag with that?" And she says, he says she's not that ugly.
Oh,
I mean, right? Hey, Socko, let me know when we're live, Socko. I don't want to tell inappropriate
He's like,
jokes on the
Baghdad.
air.
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna bag her and then hang out with her dad afterwards.
Hey, high five me, Dad.
We're all about Baghdad.
Yeah, high five me. Watch this. Tell me when we're live, Socko. I dare Joe Biden.
We're back here on the Sackheads Radio Show. Here on the SHR Media Network, we're joined with our good friend Rooster from the Rooster Crows at Night here on Saturday nights on SHR Media, as well as his wonderful writing skills and the exceptional one himself, Ken McClinton, ExceptionalConservative.show.com. Before we go to break, we're talking about Iraq and the situation that's going on over there with ISIS. And we were talking about gas prices.
Daryl ISIS?
Daryl ISIS. And we were talking about gas prices and whether or not, the Democrats could actually, the president could actually rally support to actually take some sort of military action.
He can rally Lindsey Graham.
He rallied up Lindsey, which is easy to do to ruffle Lindsey's feathers because I think he wears a lot of feathers. Soft Lindsey, as he will forever be known on this show, is Soft Lindsey.
Oh, millions of American men face that problem every night. Catching up.
Dude, you know what? If we ever get a sponsor from Cialis or one of those things, we could say this commercial has been brought to you by Soft Lindsey, and then play Cialis.
We need a product called Soft Lindsey.
Rooster, you're a long time. We have to go to you for our military ideas and advice based on your history. What options do you think that are good options that are on the table right now for us to be of assistance?
A status of forces agreement. We should work out one with Iran as soon as possible.
And why?
We tried that, didn't we?
You tried
shit. That's all I got. That's all I got, guys.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that a hard one at you right off the top.
Yeah, look. If
Brought to
you're
you by
going to do
Soft
this,
Lindsey.
if you're going to do this, all right, we've got the George Bush over there. We got the planes over there. We got the cruise missiles over there. And if that's all you're going to do, then you really need to do it.
Right.
I mean,
we saw the same thing with Syria, did we not?
You just need to light their asses up and light them up for a week.
But that's not going to stop the fighting. At some point, we're going to be gone again. And this 2,000 years, or however long they've been fighting over whatever, it's going to flare back up again. I mean, they may be taking ground that they lost now. They may control a portion of Syria and now into Iraq. But even if we go and light them up, and then we pull back again, or even if we leave some forces there, at some point, we're not going to occupy or leave, wrong term, we're not going to leave forces standing in Iraq, I wouldn't think, forever. Which means at some point we're going to have to. Which means at some point we're going to have to be gone, and the Shiites and the Sunnis are going to start fighting again.
Well, I mean,
so
haven't they always been fighting? I mean, since the dawn of time.
Point. Yeah, but that's exactly my point, Rooster. Why are we going to go in there and get involved in a war that's been happening since biblical times? I mean, I don't understand.
Well, I mean, a long time ago, somebody made the decision that Iraq was important to the security of the United States. I can see that argument. I can see somehow trying to stop Iran's expansionism, for lack of better terms. But if you're going to do it there, what really pisses me off is, you put troops in or you don't put troops in. Regardless of whatever we decide to do, somehow our hands are always tied. If you're going to send the military in, let the military do what the military does. And give them, okay, we don't want you to put troops in, so we want you to bomb the shit out of them with these planes, send over some missiles. Well, let the military really show what the military can do. None of this, forget
posture.
I mean, just do it.
Right.
So let me ask you this: is there a problem? Look, sometimes you have two kids fighting, right?
Right.
And you have two kids. Let's say they're your sons, and they're fighting and they're going at it, and they're both assholes. At some point, don't you grab them both by the scruff of the neck and pull them apart and whoop both their asses as dad and sit them down and just be done with it? And that's kind of what we have going on here.
Right.
They're both assholes, and they're both fighting and causing a big mess. So why not go in and you take care of Iran and you take care of Iraq, and now we know Israel's stable, and we freaking go home.
Because Dad's a pussy in this case.
Okay, and that's kind of all I wanted to hear. That's really all I wanted to hear, because other than that, other than going in and taking care of that region, going in and taking care of and just putting down Iraq and putting down Iran, both sides, Sunni and Shiite. Now you have Israel that is stable, which is really one of our main objectives over there, right? You have access.
Well, I think
oil,
you might get some
our
argument on that right now.
with the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, we will, but that's what our focus should be. That's what it has been for as long as Israel has existed, and that I understand that may be a different that there may be a different direction now with this administration, but that shouldn't be.
Look, I'm the official Sackheads Radio Secretary of State. If it were me, and I had my druthers, I'd let them fight until they killed each other off. Forget about Iran or Iraq. I'd deal with Iran right now, and I would move some of those planes that nobody can see to the Ukraine, and I would take on Putin right now. But that's just me.
Yeah.
And
I would also set up some sort of betting table on the Middle East that we could all be included on. So if you want to lay money on Iraq or on ISIS or something like that, like we could make $1 or $2 off of this.
Look, I like the idea of dealing with Iran, because then you eliminate their ability to get a nuclear weapon. You secure Israel, and you let the Sunnis and Shiites kill each other, like you said, because once there is a victor, if there's ever a victor, then you know how to deal with that as it relates to Israel over in the Middle East and energy and so forth. But until then, they're going to continue to fight and kill each other. And meanwhile, we can start gaining our energy independence by actually tapping into our own resources here at home and not worry about that. And then, like you say, we have Putin to deal with. I really worry about Iran and Israel. Iran has a huge air defense system, and Israel does not have a large army to go in and occupy or move on Iran. Their power is in their air power, and Iran has the defense, the capability of dealing with that air power. So I'm concerned for Israel and Israel's ability to effectively strike Iran. Now, if Iran comes in to invade Israel, I think Israel is in a much better position to defend themselves. So I really worry about Iran, and I agree with you, Rooster, that I think we should, if we're going to get involved militarily over there, it should be our focus should be on Iran and not what's happening between the Sunnis and Shiites.
Yeah, the funny thing is just for shits and giggles, like it must have been over a year ago, we actually mapped this whole thing out on one of your shows. And everything that we talked about has actually come true.
It's happening. Yes.
Yes, because we are awesome.
I remember that show specifically. We were in our old studio and we talked about that.
Were we in the lair, or were we in Studio One?
We were in Studio One.
Okay.
And
there was a whiteboard involved.
There was a whiteboard
involved.
Not just a white boy, Ken. Come on. And it went country to country to country. What would happen if A jumped on B, C, etc. And we are almost exactly to where we said we were going to be.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I think we were looking at 3 to 4 years, and it's been a year.
And we also said that Russia was going to look to the west and expand to the west, and that Iran wanted to expand to the east. So all those countries with the Stan at the end of them, that's where Iran wants to go.
Yep. And anywhere that ends in Stan that Russia doesn't have a stake in.
And I mean, and there's some other countries that haven't been affected yet. You have Sakostan. You have.
Look,
I can't even respond.
His people must be protected. Save Sacco.
Follow the street Sacco.
That's now the area of the room that Sacco sits in. That is now
Sacco stand?
That's Sacco stand over there.
Hold on, let me get my flag.
It's a brown.
Why is it rainbow?
It's a brown napkin.
That's weird.
We have to put that up on a wall as a flag now. Sacco stand. It's just a brown napkin. That's even better.
Hey, it was made in the USA.
Hey, Ken.
Manufacturer Taco Bell.
Well, I mean,
Ken,
that's
how,
fitting because our flags are made over there. So, I mean, it just...
Ken, is there any way that the administration politically could save what's going on right now?
Oh well, they're doing doing a very good job of saving themselves in this regard.
I said save. No, I meant as a nation.
Yeah. Oh, you think they care about the nation? Are you kidding me?
I should have known something was
This is
awry
about
when they sent
fundraising,
Biden to try
man.
to smooth it over.
Listen, I applaud you all because you're really, really very far ahead of the mainstream media and even Fox News in terms of assessment, the analysis of the situation, and that part of the Middle East. It behooves us just to allow the Sunnis to fight the Shiites and figure out who's going to be the right caliphate leader of the new world. Let them fight it out, quite frankly. And the Sunnis are only doing this simply because they know that this administration is not going to do anything against them in terms of a true fight to the death, per se. So they have to guard themselves against the Shiites, the Iranians garnering nuclear weapons. This is really a nuclear weapons fight, and who's going to have control of the Middle East? Saudi Arabia is siding with Israel. Syria and the other terrorists from the north are deciding, hey, we can't allow the Shiites to have nuclear weapons, or we're gone. So we need to do something quickly. And this administration doesn't mind the fight at all because it gives them the permission to go back to Iran and say, hey, you need nuclear weapons in order to stabilize this particular part of the Middle East. The Iranians get exactly what they've been wanting for the past 6 years, and the Sunnis get the rest of the desert and enjoy. Have a great time.
Look, if they need
couple minutes because we're running over.
If they need nukes, we could give them a couple, like nose first, right?
That's all the delivery method.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
and
if that's what they're after, we can oblige that.
We could call it Glassland.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, you could have a huge parking lot.
Right.
I'm not saying I think we should do it, but I'm saying we can oblige them, right?
Big lead dome.
And while all this is going on, the one that we should really be worried about, the one that actually has nukes right now, is pumping Obama in the ass without the benefit of a reach around.
There you go.
Sacco's mom does not have nukes.
Politically speaking.
Yeah, politically speaking, it is.
Oh, I thought.
I'm sorry. Does that violate my contract?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, as a matter of fact, we were due for a Sacco's mom joke, so that was perfect timing.
I mean, my point being is, while all this shit's going on, I'd be more worried about Putin and what he's got planned than anything else.
Yes. It's a giant distraction. Again, there's a reason I said that there's a good chance that Iran, Syria, and Russia may have money behind ISIS.
They might. And look, Obama's really getting it, Putin him.
He's getting the hot Putin injection.
He's Putin it to himself.
Hey, you guys tonight have created 2 new lingo that will be used in some disco club in San Francisco. The soft Lindsay.
the soft Lindsay. That's gonna be on the menu of every massage parlor, coast to coast.
And the hot Putin injection.
And the hot Putin.
Oh my goodness.
So I think we can, as a committee, decide that we let them fight it all out. And
let them fight it out.
Deal with whatever's left over.
And deal with
focus
Iran.
with our real issues, which are Russia and Iran.
Yes.
Okay. We do have to move on because we're already over time. And we do want to jump into.
Look, I want Lois Lerner.
Lois Lerner.
And the IRS.
And gentlemen, if you want to stay on,
please, you're welcome to stay on. So, but riddle me this: how is it the IRS loses what years of emails, and Nixon loses 18 minutes and resigns.
Right. And actually, Sacco, who's our in-house IT guy, and Rooster, you guys are kind of the computer experts. So, Sacco, if you want to come in for this one, I do have a couple computer-related questions for you. And Rooster, I'll start with you, and Sacco, you can jump in too. If you are, let's say, a medium-sized business, not the federal government, not a large business, a medium-sized business, and you host your own emails, and you need to find something, say, 2 years ago that's on your server. Sacco, I'll let you go first.
You obviously can't do it.
I think this is more of Bruce's ballpark.
Okay.
Thanks for contributing, Sacco.
Thanks for contributing, Sacco.
Sacco, ladies and gentlemen.
Sacco, can you find emails on your computer from 2 years ago right now?
Yes, I
can. Okay, Rooster. 2 years ago, computers.
I don't care whose computer crashed. They're stored on a server, and not only that, the federal government has more than one server, because in case one server goes down, they have to be able to bring up another server right away, and that server is in another location, miles, like probably in West Virginia somewhere.
Hold on, Rooster. Let's say they have a POP account. All right,
let's say they're doing it a regular old email.
And they only have a POP account.
Okay.
They could still find the emails.
They don't go
in about
away.
An hour.
They don't go away.
Disappear is my point.
Yeah.
And especially the federal government, like you said, there's so many levels of redundancy due to the severity of the information that they carry.
You know what they're counting on? They're counting on a nation of sackhead Clints that are as technologically savvy as my big toe, who would believe that if a computer went down, all of the data known to mankind would be lost.
Clint, literally, if he can't see it on his screen, it's gone away into a magical black hole.
It's gone forever.
It'll turn back on.
But
right? So my computer just powered down, which means nobody in the universe can access the internet.
Right.
Because
you
it's
broke
gone.
the link. It's almost like how a light works for you.
Right.
Now,
so basically
that's what they're counting on.
So basically what they're
are.
saying is that Lois Lerner somehow is separate from the rest of the government. She has like an AOL account, a dial-up account.
Wait, so is Lois a learner? Is she maybe somebody working for a shadow agency in the government to where she does have some form of standalone account?
My point being is even those
She could
accounts
be
don't
Jane
go away.
Bond.
Even those accounts don't go away.
No, it's always there because you never know what they need to recover for intelligence purposes and whatnot. And you can't tell me. And then Drudge is reporting on Drudge Reports that her hard drive from her computer, after all of this, has already been recycled, and that there's no information on it. So, again,
but the
almost
point
like
being is that the hard drive of her computer means absolutely nothing.
No, it's on a server.
If I were in that committee, I would say, so what? Bring me the emails anyway. I don't care if her computer crashed. You have the emails. Bring them to me.
Well, and the other thing that people are missing, too, is she sent those emails to and from another person who has a copy on their server as well.
But
so it's
6
not
other
just,
computers went down.
We can't go and grab the information from somebody else, right? No, the other person's not on trial.
No, but
they are on trial, but they've got to.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they absolutely are. It's part of the entirety of the investigation.
Why is Obama not impeached?
It's a great question at this point.
Seriously, how is it with everything that he has done, and even just issuing the executive order and going right by Congress, knowingly his own staff members have said yes, he knowingly in our discussions knowingly violated the law. Where I come from, that's called conspiracy. 2 or more people conspire to commit any crime. So he and his people obviously took part in a conspiracy to violate the law by going through or by going around Congress, failing to notify Congress prior to Gitmo detainees being released. We have connections, most likely, to the White House, and I know there was just a report that came out on Obama's talking points and the IRS actions and so forth. But with everything going on, and with everything that his government has done, and you look at the DOJ and what they have and have not done, how is it this man has not been impeached?
You want an honest answer?
Oh, wait, I'll beat you to it. It's because he's black.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because we would all be
Yeah.
racist. And that's it's sad when you think about it, but that's the reason.
It is sad. The very thing that they like to accuse the right of being is exactly what they are. They would defend him because of his race versus what's right and wrong. And there's just as much prejudice in that action as there would be for prosecuting or impeaching because of his race.
I agree. Failing to act because of his race is just as bad as acting simply because of race.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a horrendous atrocity, and for whatever reason, it's being allowed. And it's being allowed as a nation because a lot of people outside of the conservatives are really okay with that. They may never say it, but listen, I like I said, I know people who voted for him both times, and they're older people who grew up in the 60s and they were little hippies, but who voted twice because they wanted to be involved in voting the first black man into office, and it had nothing to do with his politics. I know that's a fact. So, it is out there to defend him because of his race and not of his actions. I believe that's almost the exact opposite of what Dr. King, one of the greatest civil rights leaders of all time, envisioned and hoped for. So it's a bigger slap to the face of the American people and the struggle for civil rights in this country to not do anything because of his race than would be to do something because of his action.
And even worse than that, Sean, he not only is he black, he's a black hypocrite because now to save face at the end of his second term, he's going back and doing the same things that George Bush did that he blasted George Bush for doing.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. He's doing it nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, he's absolutely out of control presidentially, and nobody is putting the check on the check and balance.
In regards to the tax matter, even if you have a director of an agency that her hard drive is gone and apparently they have no material way of recovering her emails and things of that particular nature, you have to transfer that particular line of due diligence to exactly what the IRS does as a debt collector. So you have to ask yourself, does this agency, as inept as it is, lose information on individuals, their taxes, and their financial records just as easily as they lost the director's emails? If that's the case, how can you have confidence in this particular agency? And why aren't you asking those particular questions? In regards to the issue of the race, I must say that, yes, because he is black, much of America is resistant to doing this, but you also have another factor in place. It has taken 100 years for the progressive movement to get to this particular juncture. To them, it is just a bump in the road for them to go over these particular scandals. It is because conservatives have allowed the narrative to be changed to the point where they feel that they don't have the power, they don't have the will, and they don't have the strength to make the Constitution apparent in the lives of even their own generations, that we have this particular situation. We have over 400 congressmen there. All of them have sworn allegiance to the United States of America on a Bible. You have 100 senators have all done the very same thing, and yet they're all committed to doing what's best in their own eyes. Until Americans decide that it is their representative who is screwing this country over, it doesn't matter what the Congress does, the executive does, it doesn't matter what the Supreme Court does. Until you get rid of the feisty, corrupt individual who represents you and put in individuals who really are concerned about the wherewithal of this nation, this republic, we're going to continue to have this problem, whether black or white, Asian, Jew, or Gentile. We need to recover this republic, and the only way that we can do it is by eliminating the fodder that we have sent, which actually is causing quite a shame and ill repute upon the Founding Fathers.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
You know what?
I think
I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. The funny thing about all of this is, as hard as they try to win re-election, you know what would guarantee the next president a second term? Is if in 2017, when he takes office, he immediately says, I want to get to the bottom of Benghazi, I want to get to the bottom of Fast and Furious, I want to get to the bottom of the IRS,
Yes.
and I want it done in public where everybody can see. And if he does that, or she does that, and
4 years immediately.
They've got 8 years to play.
They literally just pass go.
And that's all they have to do.
I believe.
I'm gonna tell you that they're not going to do
that's
that.
accurate. Yeah, I don't think they. I wish they would, but they wouldn't. But you know, the Constitution gives the House of Representatives the sole power of impeachment, but it doesn't say when they have to impeach.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I'm getting the high sign for a break.
Break.
All right, guys,
All
we're
right.
going to take a break. You going to hold on for us?
Guys, I'm going to let you go. I will be back on this Saturday, if you could just throw that out there to everybody. So long as
Radio this Saturday night. The Rooster Crows at night. And Rooster, you going at 9 Pacific Saturday, correct?
no, I'm going at 9 Eastern on Saturday.
Eastern, I'm sorry. Eastern.
Yes.
I'm on Pacific. My apologies. The amazing Rooster Cogburn. Check him out, shrmedia.com. Rooster, sir, thank you so much. Ken, are you going to hold? Or are you going?
I will hold.
We'll hold. We'll be back with the exceptional one, Ken McClinton, here on the Sackheads Radio Show in 3.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
How you doing? John Grant here. When I'm not slaving over a hot microphone on the 405radio.com Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, I check out Sean and Clint here at Sackheads Radio. We all appreciate the best political bloggers, writers, and commentators. We either get them on our shows or we make fun of them, as it should be. So check us out live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern or forever on the podcasts on the 405radio.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on the Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Hello, I'm Paul, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is my professor, Dr. Larry Arnn, on the separation of church and state.
America's founders believed in the separation of church and state, in that the country was not to have an official religion or an official sect. But that did not mean that government was to be hostile to religion, or even indifferent to religion, as many today argue. In fact, America's founding document, the Declaration of Independence, includes both a reference to God as the author of the laws of nature and a confident assertion that human beings are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Far from being hostile or indifferent to religion, America's founders understood the theology of the Declaration to be an essential part of the education of citizens.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.org.
Hi, this is Rooster from Outcry Radio. Catch me here on Blog Talk Radio every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or follow my blog. Now, back to the Sackheads.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Radio.
And we're back here on the Sackheads radio show on the 18th of June, 2014. With us right now is our good friend still, Ken McClinton, the Exceptional Conservative, exceptionalconservativeshow.com. Ken, thank you so much. We go into the break. We're talking about Lois Lerner and impeachment and whether or not how has the president not been impeached yet? I think it's a pretty obvious question. A lot of people on the right are asking, and even some on the left is starting to ask a little bit more. And I definitely have friends who are either center or left that are starting to have the conversation, which is good because I think that we've actually started to make a little bit of progress, as much as the left likes to think that they can own that, but a little bit of progress in that department. We want to jump ahead, unless, Clint, you had anything else to add.
I think that do you remember when the left made efforts to impeach George Bush?
Yes. I believe that's when they were walking around having depictions of George Bush lit on fire and hanging from a noose.
That was you try that. But was it? It was in 2008. There were two Congress people. I don't remember who exactly they were. I think Wexler was one of them, and they issued or introduced articles of impeachment against Bush in the House, and there was a vote to refer the impeachment resolution to the Judiciary Committee, and nothing else was done on it after it went to the Judiciary Committee. Do you remember that, or am I talking completely out of my mind?
No, I remember that. I very clearly remember that.
And those articles of impeachment were for what? Failing to comply with congressional subpoenas for the 2004 elections, Hurricane Katrina, global warming, and 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, just things that, like global warming. Are you going to impeach the president over global warming? And his conduct in the Iraq War, I think. But anyways, there was a bunch of things that they tried to impeach Bush for, which were not legitimate.
No,
I don't think. I mean, global warming, Katrina, really?
They had no proof of any sort of conspiracy or criminal act.
Right.
Overt.
Then there's a president here who's done these things, and the Republicans won't do it. And forget the Republicans. I don't think, again, this should not be a Republican or a Democrat issue. You had Nixon that lost 18 minutes of tape or concealed 18 minutes of tape, and he was going to be impeached, and rightfully so.
Yes.
So here, with everything that this administration has done by both failing to faithfully execute the laws of the United States, which is in his oath of office, by doing things that he's done, as we've discussed previously, and yet nobody has the testicular fortitude to even introduce articles of impeachment.
Well, it goes back to what we said before the break, is that they're afraid of being. Listen, the only thing that's second to being a racist, as far as being a terrible human being, is accusing somebody falsely of being a racist, because there's so much clout in that in our society that people are so afraid to have that false shadow cast upon them that they will not do the right thing in fear of being called a racist. And the left has peddled that well beyond immaculate. They've made that so strong and so powerful. They've made this race card and race baiting is such their MO that everybody on the right knows that they own it. And listen, I mean, if you're in any sort of social media, especially, all too often do you have an argument about what this president has done wrong or something to that effect, when somebody is just quick to throw out that you're a racist. I've had it happen to me numerous times on Twitter. And the best part is people have no idea what my nationality is because my picture's not on the Twitter. And you can guess if you listen to the show, but most of them I don't know if they've listened to the show.
Pink is not a nationality.
Pink is not a nationality. But they throw it out there because it's a powerful word. And our politicians are so afraid of that they will not do what's actually the right thing to do. Ken, you're our senior black correspondent. Are we close? Ken, did we lose you?
Ken, did you hang up on Sacco? Did you hang up on Ken again?
Oh, we lost the exceptional one himself. Ken, if you get a chance, call back in. But I think that's where it really is at this point. Rooster pointed out quickly in the chat that he's our only black correspondent, but that would still make him the senior black correspondent.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he could also be the junior black correspondent.
He could be.
Then. We just choose to call him the senior black correspondent because
you wanted junior and I said senior because
No, I don't want junior. We choose to empower him, right?
So that's going to close the. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. That's going to close the IRS. It's a lot done. Look, I think it's ridiculous. They obviously can recover it. There's a huge lie going on. But how bad is it that the administration feels more comfortable telling a ridiculous, putting out a ridiculous falsehood like that, which is like everybody knows that, even I know, and I'm not a technical person, that those emails are stored somewhere.
Right.
They are recoverable. So, but to put this story out, and as unbelievable as it is, they feel better about putting that out than they do about releasing the emails. So, how bad does it have to be?
Yeah,
I mean, really, if they're more comfortable with telling a bald-faced lie, and no offense, Sean, I said bold, or bald, so I apologize. But if they're more comfortable with telling an obvious falsehood, or what is perceived to be an obvious falsehood, right? Most people believe it's a lie because they understand how technology works to some level. So they feel more comfortable with that than they do actually releasing the documents. That is very telling to me.
Right. I think that's very, very telling. They're afraid of what might come out, and that's a scary problem.
Absolutely. Look, I know you wanted to get to immigration. We only have a little bit of time left. Go ahead.
You know, earlier today, Governor Rick Perry from
Texas.
I'm
there for you.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Released a statement essentially warning
criminal aliens.
Well, warning the people of Texas that the immigration is about to get so bad, they're calling it an imminent border security surge, and that he's ordered tons of resources from Department of Public Safety in Texas to the border to pick up the slack where the federal government isn't doing it, even though it's their job to protect the border. We've seen such an influx, and anyone who's watched the news recently knows of all the immigrants that are coming over illegally and being dispersed by immigration to other parts of the country.
By bus,
by airplane. They're given all these different meal tickets and whatnot. So this prompted Governor Perry to take action and release a statement. Allegedly, the president's going to respond. But there's been pictures, and I said it last week, there's pictures out there right now of the Texas border that looks like a refugee camp where they're coming over in masses. It's what I picture Jordan to look like when Syria was really hot and heavy, of all these people coming over, and we're not doing anything about it. As a matter of fact, this president, I would submit, has encouraged this behavior by his lack of prosecution or lack of action and doing the executive order to cease the enforcement amongst our borders with illegal aliens, or criminal aliens as we like to call them, to the point that now $1.3 million per week is being paid by the state of Texas out of their own money in order to combat the flood of illegal immigration. Is this? We talk so much about Obama's foreign policy being a disaster, but here's a domestic policy. I guess you could say it has to do with Mexico, so it is a foreign policy. But here's a
I'd call this domestic policy. We're talking about immigration.
Here's a domestic policy that is a gigantic failure.
I don't think he views it as a failure, and that's where I may differ from a lot of people. I don't believe he sees this as a failure. I believe that he wants more open borders because he wants that voting base.
Right.
I think he believes it's going to empower the Democratic Party. And you know what? He's right. So I don't think he views this as a failure at all. The border is as open and as porous as it is by design.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he likes it that way.
Well, and one of the questions I've asked right along, and I've never had an exact straight answer, is I know the state of Texas can't put a fence along the federal border.
Why? It's still the state border.
Well, there is issues on legalities on whether or not they can secure the federal
I'd
border.
put it
But
one
my next,
foot.
Exactly. Why don't they step back literally a foot
Yep.
and say, we're putting this fence up. It's going to be 15 feet tall, razor barb at the top, one border to the other, because...
And I'm putting the National Guard there to defend it.
Right. And now all the Border Patrol has to worry about in the feds is that 1 foot between my fence and Mexico. And hopefully they can have enough bodies down there, and this government will hold enough clout to be able to defend that. But anyone who comes over, we're going to have a serious problem. I will charge them as criminals in our state for coming over. And I know that sucks for states like Arizona, who now will have to suck it up, and New Mexico and California, who will have to really suck it up even more. But something has to be done along this border. And this is this isn't just the increased activity of illegals coming over, criminal aliens coming over, is so dramatic at this point, folks. I think it's up like 35 or 40%. And that's just scary. And again, this president's worried about sending Joe Biden over to bag some dad. Where do we go from here?
Look, I think
can the state, in your opinion, and you have a tendency to read more than I do about stuff like this, can the state sue the federal government to recoup that money?
They can try it. Look, I think the bigger question is, can the states, and the Arizona case kind of tested this, can the states secure the borders when the federal government fails to do so? And I believe states can secure their borders from illegal access.
Right.
But here's the question then. How does Texas deal with criminal aliens coming into California and then into Texas that route?
No, I understand that, but that will be listen, a lot of them, their goal is to get to California. So
right.
It's not like they're
True.
coming to California and then they're like, well, we got to get out of here. This place is too tough on us. Let's go to Texas. I don't think that's the concern.
No. But I'm bringing it up to show that, hey, so Texas is not securing its borders state to state, which I think then would be a bigger issue. And so perhaps I wasn't clear. They're securing it from illegal entry
from the
into
south.
Their state from the south,
from the southernmost border,
from a foreign country.
Right.
And that's a different issue than if they were to block off the borders,
the New Mexico-Texas
line. Into New Mexico with like a checkpoint, right? Different story altogether, and that's kind of what I bring about. By the way, did you know the national animal of Scotland is the unicorn?
I had no idea.
That is, yeah, check it out.
Okay, random.
That's not random. What does the Scottish flag look like? The stars and bars, right? But it's blue with white bars. No stars, but it's a blue field with a white crossed X, which I was thinking of Texas, so naturally I thought of the Confederacy. Stars and bars of the Confederacy got me thinking about Scotland's flag, made me remember their national anthem is the unicorn. Not random at all. There's the thought train.
So back to the sane side. I will forever known you as Unicorn Clint. If you had a Native American name, that would be it.
Unicorn Clint.
Unicorn Clint.
Okay.
Of the soft feet. Listen, if you're Texas, you have to do something. Illegal immigration is destroying so much in your country. I know there was an incident in Houston the other day that 2 people were killed by an illegal a criminal alien that didn't have a driver's license. It was a hit-and-run situation. I know it's more and more common for these cartel to come over the border and commit murders and other heinous acts in correlation with drug dealing and whatnot. I know this president, like you said, we have to go around him. We have to find a way to make a change because we're not it's not that we're not helping the poor people of Mexico who are trying to come and get a better life.
Mm-hmm.
We're hurting the people of Texas and other areas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, even as much as California never wants to admit that. We're hurting our citizens who are here, and it's the country's job to protect them. That's part of the federal government's job, is to help protect the people of this country from all enemies, foreign or domestic.
Mm-hmm.
These are foreign enemies. When they're coming across the border, I have argued, and you have agreed, that we could argue that cartel members are terrorists.
Right.
Through their actions. There's an ideology there.
Yeah.
And they spread fear amongst people through these horrible acts as a reason that they are so brutal. And what they do is because they want people to know that they are that brutal. That's almost the direct definition of terrorism. So why haven't states started to go that route? Why can't Texas turn around and say, hey, you know what? We need Homeland Security money to help us out against terrorism. What terrorism? Mexican drug cartels. So I want to build a fence, and I want federal money to do so. I know you have federal money for all this other stuff when it comes to Homeland Security stuff. I want it for a fence because we will now declare in our state that they are a terrorist organization. And I recommend that you do the same.
Look, that's one way to go about it. I don't know that I think that's the best way, but I certainly see that argument. I think I really I like what Texas is doing in that they're paying for it themselves and not using any federal funds. Because by not using any federal funds, there's
no control.
There's zero control.
Right.
None whatsoever. Hey, we're not using federal grant money, therefore you can't tell us what to do with it. So go pound sand. This is a state issue. We're using state dollars to do it, and that's how we're handling it. I wish California had the balls to do that.
I wish so, too. I understand what you're saying. It does give Texas the right to kind of put their money how they want.
Yeah.
But it also, they're bearing a burden they should not have to bear as a state.
They are, but the federal government will not do it. As the state, they're going to belly up and do it. And everybody knows, anybody that has been around knows that once you attach federal funding to something,
the feds have control.
They have control.
Yep.
There are a lot of rules that go along with
Right.
it, a lot of regulation that goes along with it. So, and because the federal government, this administration, does not want this border secured, I think that Texas is actually going to do it the right way. I bet. How long until Eric Holder files an injunction or a lawsuit
Against
trying
Texas.
to stop against Texas from enforcing
For hate crimes, because they're targeting Mexicans.
Right. For anything, but to stop this action. How long? I'm gonna see, depending on if this plan actually gets put into place once it starts. I think that there's going to be something that'll stop it.
Well, Rooster brings up a good point in the chat room, and this kind of goes along with my idea, but yeah, you say that Mexico is a state sponsor of terrorism by not dealing with the cartels, and it forces their hand a little bit, because what do we do when we go after terrorism who are attacking our people?
Well,
especially if it's an imminent and immediate threat.
Well,
to
didn't
our
we
nation.
just send some troops over to the Middle East because terrorism affects our people? So what would happen if we sent some troops into Mexico? And while we're down there, we can get our Marine out of jail.
Yeah. Well, because now you could argue that he's being held in a terrorism jail. He's being held by terrorists. He could be, I don't know what his status is. I don't know if he's still an inactive reserve, but could he be a POW? And now we have to send a team in to rescue a POW. Right? I mean, why not? Why do we pussyfoot around with... Listen, I hate to say it. If this was Canada, we wouldn't put up with this. I know Canada wouldn't do it, and I know it's...
That's because Canada is all white people.
But we would not tolerate this if this was being done in Canada. Do we have 5 cartel members we could trade to get them back? Oh, boy, so many places we go there. But we would not put up with this from Canada. We put up with the stuff from Mexico, and there's no reason why. Nobody knows other than voting. You can't show me another reason why we do this. They hide behind humanitarian. They hide behind all this other stuff. But there's no reason other than to gain Democratic votes and get people on the state system.
Well, I think that's why they want to keep. They don't want to close the borders. But why,
that should be enough to get rid of them.
Stop making sense.
Jesus Christos.
And there are, well, a lot of these new immigrants coming in and the children coming in are not even from Mexico. They're from other Central American countries.
Exactly. You're right. Actually, Rooster, who often brings the serious side of the situation, we do have a reason to get pissed off at Canada. They did give us Justin Bieber. So that's a very sane argument to have. So we may have to say that Canada supports terrorism.
No, see, I would say that would mean Canada supports douchebagism. They support douchebaggery. Mexico supports narco-terrorists, which was a term that we heard at the convention from Congressman Sessions.
Yeah, narco-terrorists. But that's a serious...
It is a serious question.
That's a serious question to
And
have.
he
And I would love to
brought
see...
that up.
Listen, if there's any members of Congress out there, I would love to see you start making a move and show some huevos and actually and I'm trying to use lingo that maybe some other people can understand, and really step into this and start helping out our citizens. Worry more about protecting our citizens than those who are trying to jump into our country illegally, because that's your damn job. Real quick, we have 5 minutes left. Benghazi.
Yes. So all of these things are kind of hitting the administration. Here's my theory real quick.
It's Bin Laden all over again.
IRS is starting to come about. Lost emails are coming about. Benghazi's still a hot-button issue. Now you have the president releasing 5 Guantanamo detainees without consent of Congress. And, hey, look, we got the Benghazi guy who was hiding in plain sight the entire time and talking to the media. And, look, we got him. Look how awesome we are. We got one of the Benghazi suspects. We're going to interrogate him and bring him back for trial. Hey, forget about that other stuff. Don't worry. Yeah, listen, we released some people, and, yeah, we didn't really have congressional improvement. Hey, look over here. Look, it's kind of like if I had $200 in this hand, you would say, wait, what is this? What was I holding? I don't even know what that was.
Let's say you forget all about what's in that hand. I got $200 here. You forget it. It just goes, what is that? I don't even know what it was. Yeah, this is kind of a plain and simple one. And this has kind of happened with Bin Laden, too, where Fast and the Furious, I think, was going, and something else was going at the time. And all of a sudden, Bin Laden comes up dead. And he's, oh, hey, look, got Bin Laden. So this was exactly how I felt. It was convenient for him. They had eyes on him. They were watching him. And I don't know necessarily if he was like, hey, go out and find this guy now because I need it. Or if the military and law enforcement, even though it shouldn't be law enforcement, but for whatever reason they get the FBI involved, the military was in it and said, hey, you know what? We have eyes on this guy. Oh, good. Let's grab him now. I need him. Yeah, he actually was just parked in front of the embassy when it was attacked. No. He was involved, right? You know, like
he was. Yeah. We were just. You told us to buy him a cup of coffee. We were having a cup of coffee with him because we
a cup of coffee was the go word. Arrest his ass.
Oh, okay.
Because we need something. Listen, if he's truly involved and he was truly one of the people that massacred one of our 4 brave Americans, then yes.
By the way, did you see Hillary Clinton's interview on Fox News with Megyn Kelly and Brett Baer?
No.
I'm sorry, Greta Van Susteren, not Megyn Kelly. Greta Van Susteren and Brett Baer did an interview with Hillary Clinton. She is starting to separate herself just a little bit from the Obama administration.
Weird, huh?
And some of the answers she was giving. She did say one thing that I actually had to give her a little nod of I don't want to say respect, but a little nod of respect.
Okay. For
lack of a better word. She said she was asked something like to the effect of, "Hey, did you disagree with the way President handled a lot of things?" Something to that effect. I don't remember the specific question. I would have to find the quote. And she said, gave a very good answer. She said, "I've disagreed. I've worked with presidents in several administrations, including my husband, as you know, and I have disagreed with all of them on certain issues." She said, "I've worked with George H.W. Bush. And I've disagreed with him on certain issues. I've worked with my husband and disagreed with him on certain issues. George W. Bush, and this president is no different." I thought it was actually a very classy way to handle the question, and
politically intelligent.
It was politically intelligent. It was a good move for her, and it made her sound very reasonable and able to work with all sides. So I thought she handled that question very well. But now there was something else interesting. Also, Fox played a family album of the Bushes, and I did not realize how close Bill Clinton actually was with the Bush family.
George H.W., especially the father.
Yeah, and the son also. But George H.W. considers him like the son that went awry or whatever.
Right,
because
that's
he's
what
a Democrat.
he always called him that. There was a great whole thing. It was actually after Hurricane Katrina that they started fundraising together. They formed that bond. And it was actually before Katrina that they started to form that bond. It was during the White House changeover, and President Bill Clinton said that he couldn't imagine taking the White House from somebody else because the amount of grace and friendship and kindness that the Bushes showed him when he arrived, that he invited them back several times just to have them. And he thought there's actually politics aside, there's some wonderful things said by former President Clinton about President Bush. George H.W. Bush. One of my favorite stories, they were all speaking somewhere, was when President Bush was in office, George W. Bush, and President Clinton and George H.W. Bush were off talking, and they were supposed to have this dinner. And one of the Secret Service guys said that President W. Bush at the time turned around and said, "Hey, tell number 41 and 42, 43, starving, let's go." Hey, folks, that's it here for the Sackheads Radio Show. Check us out next Wednesday, 8 o'clock p.m. on the Pacific, 11 on the East. Check us all out on shrmedia.com. Check out some of our great talents with us. Evan Miller Report, The Exceptional Conservative, Outcry Radio, Dr. Arrington's blog, Rosie H. Dale's blog, and all the bloggers that are on there. We will see you next week, folks. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a slice, my friend. I'm Sackhead Clint.
Sackhead Sean for Sackhead Sacco, who's going to roll us on out of here. Thank you, everyone who chatted.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work there, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sackheads Radio.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.